UDI initiatives, specifically with loading UDI data into health authority databases, has been here for a while, starting with the U.S. and is expanding to other regions, notably in this conversation, China. So this is starting to, or it is growing, not just starting. It has been growing and it will continue to grow for years to come. So if you go to the next slide here, what we've been doing at Reed Tech is we have a product SingleSource for medical devices, which is targeted to scale as these health authorities expand with their UDI database submission requirements. So the goal is to have a single platform that can be leveraged to manage your global UDI data, and ultimately have workflows, submission channels to submit to the various health authority databases around the world. The next slide. So just getting a little bit deeper into the application. There's various abilities for medical device companies to interact with the application, whether coming into our user interface, loading the data using spreadsheets into our system. The difference between doing that and doing it directly in the health authority database is you're loading it into our platform from a global UDI data perspective, and you could leverage, reuse that data to achieve submissions to the various channels. Now, as Gary mentioned, a lot of the data attributes, I'll kind of refer to them as the questions that the health authorities asked about the information on your product. A lot of those could be the same, but the responses you give, the actual value to the attribute, could vary regionally. So the database is, the Reed Tech database is constructed to support data attribute values that are the same. It would be common with the actual value across the health authorities, but then also the ability to give specific responses, data attribute values for a particular health authority, such as China. So that comes in handy with some of those attributes that were discussed previously with product codes, classifications, and so forth that vary across region to region. And the application could also be utilized as an integration point with source systems. So we see organizations leveraging APIs we make available to assist with that. We have various customer-facing environments, starting off with a preview environment that's a sandbox, essentially, where clients could have access to the system and functionality as we're developing it. So we look to release that. This is pre-locking down into a release, into like a formal release that goes through computer systems validation. It's essentially an early QA type look, since there's been such rapid movement in industry globally. It gives external customers early access into that functionality and to see where things are heading. And then it starts getting a little bit more formal as that elevates into a pre-production UAT system. This is the controlled system after we go through our computer systems validation on our end as a software as a service provider, and make it available for clients to also perform their own UAT tests. With both of these environments, our goal is always to connect, if so offered by the health authority, to their pre-production and databases. Now, the NMPA, as part of the pilot information or phase, it wasn't until I want to say in the fall, maybe in the October timeframe, where they actually brought up a beta environment. So when they first started off with the pilot, there was only production. So that was quite a bit of a challenge and difference in working through the pilot initially, but eventually they brought up a beta, which is able to be used to perform test submissions. And when we get into South Korea, they actually do not have a pre-production environment, but they provide like an endpoint to test the machine-to-machine transaction. But that only could go so far. In our experience, we see folks like to do a test submission, then log into the test environment and look at the data to get that warm and fuzzy. So for like a South Korea, you don't have that full experience. You can test that the structure is proper. And it'll be interesting to see how that evolves globally as more health authorities bring things online. And ultimately the production system, which is controlled, the official data that is loaded into our system and leveraged for real production systems to the production databases. In this case, it would be the NMPA production UDID.